This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
That last part of the new intro is tight. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone here. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Soul Citizens. It is Sunday, the 21st of April, and it's 7 p.m. or around 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you know that means it's Soul Citizens. My name is CaptainSeriousFun. I'm super thankful for you to be here. I always like to begin and end in gratitude. And today my gratitude is toward you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for being in community with us tonight. It is the 201st episode of the Sunday show. And so we're very excited to have some special guests here with us tonight on the Soul team. yoyoMeg, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
My name is yoyoMeg. I am a human girl who streams on Twitch sometimes and likes to play Star Citizen. I like positive vibes. I like long walks on Hurston Beach. And I love being on the Soul Citizens.
Steady, you are a human person. Yes, we agree. And last but not least, the great JadeStarwatcher. Jade, tell them who you are.
Hello, I'm JadeStarwatcher, and I'm a Soul Citizen, and I do a lot of different things in the Star Citizen universe. I was the creator of the People's Radio, of Levski. I like to make machinima, music videos, do all kinds of things in the game. I also like to talk to AI a lot, and some people actually suspect that I am AI.
Wait a minute. Do I need to process that question? If you're
Perhaps.
AI, then whoever the creators are absolute winners, right? What's the new
I'll
test?
let them know.
It's not the Turing test. What's the new test? There's some new test that they're talking about, and you would have passed, no doubt about that.
Thank you.
So it's great to be with yoyoMeg and JadeStarwatcher. I couldn't imagine two better co-hosts to host tonight's show with. Tonight's show is called Content of Your Character. Content of Your Character. So you can imagine that with the EPTU, first the Evocati, and then the EPTU now in Wave 2 release of patch 3.23, it gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about the new character creation process, the new character creators, the characters that we're able to create, and the customization that we're able to do, and explore that a little bit, not only in terms of what CIG told us at CitizenCon, but also how we're experiencing it and how you all are experiencing it. So please let us know in chat what your experiences has been like. But I wanted to start with this question, and Jade, I wanted to come to you first. What is making a custom avatar? What about it is important to you, right? Like lots of games have the ability to customize different things, but generally and in Star Citizen, what is making a custom? How is that important to you?
Well, I think personally, it's important to me because it's your visual representation in the verse, and it is a first-person universe. And Chris Roberts also likes to sometimes refer to it as space Second Life, or Second Life in space, right? So if you think about Second Life, which has been going on for more than 20 years, it's got great customization features for your avatar. So I would say it's important to me mainly because, I like to have lots of choices as far as how my characters represent it. But it's also important to me as a content creator because, like I said, there's communities that make movies in the game. There's communities that make music videos, even orgs,
Yes.
make promotional
Yes.
videos. And so having a diversity of options for creating these characters is important.
Absolutely. I agree. I hadn't thought about orgs outside of, matching armor, or having armor in certain colors or certain styles that meant certain things for orgs. But character creation also informs the org experience. Yeah, you got me thinking about that as well. Yo, what about you? What about making a custom avatar important to you? And if it is, what about it is important?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's just two different options, either being able to play as close to myself as possible, and then being able to play what I like. So the first one would be like realistically what I look like. And then the second would be what I would either want to look like or what I feel like comfortable playing, if that makes sense. Whether that's like I don't know, just like whatever in a bunch of different video games, different races, different genders, just like whatever I think looks cool. So having those options has always been amazing for me. I don't really like playing female characters, even though I'm a female. But I hope that I can create myself in this game, because being able to see or being able to play myself, and then also being able to see a bunch of different people who are themselves or other people running around in the game. It's just really cool to see. It's been really cool in EPTU getting to walk past grandpas or young people, like whatever. Like it's so cool to see like the diversity, and really, in my opinion, it makes it feel a little more real. Like it's an actual world you're walking around in, like people that you're passing by, and not just like the same 5 heads that you can choose in the character creator. So yeah, it's important for me to feel like I'm immersed in the game, in either like being able to play myself or seeing how other people play themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's been your experience in the EPTU, but since I've been in it, I'm seeing a lot more people walk around with their helmets off.
Yeah.
In stations and in locations. And as a result of that, I'm seeing a lot of the diversity that you're talking about. A lot of people who have taken the time to make themselves, right? Or, you make yourself once and then you make sure you can continue to upload that file as they continue to patch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking around and I'm seeing all of these different looks that really are so much more diverse than what we had before. I think subconsciously or consciously, people who, when we had the previous character creator, it was so like basic that people just went in and, you saw a lot of people with just the same face, just the same face. And even when you saw, and you didn't really see their face, but when you saw it, you're like, I've seen that for years now. But now it's like, to your point, I feel that it is very, it makes it feel very like this is a universe. Like this is a lot of different people doing a lot of different things. Powerful.
Yeah.
Let me come
and
back to you. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add on to that, saying that another thing I didn't consider. I hope a lot of people do realize that there's an easier way to take off our helmets now pretty quickly with the Alt H or left Alt H. I think it goes to your hip, so you can quickly put it on, take it off without having to go through the inventory. And then on top of that, I think it's getting better and better where you can go back into the character creator. Obviously, the export import is amazing and adds on to your ability to like save that preset. So like if you are yourself, you can play yourself in different ages. You can be young, and then a year after playing that same character, maybe you get some wrinkles or some sunspots or stuff like that. So I'm interested in seeing how that looks.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about presenting myself as my fresh young look and then progressing that
Yeah.
across the years in the game, right? Very interesting. It also raises the question as to whether, they talked about in terms of death of a spaceman, whether you might see some gene deterioration in terms of the availability of certain options in the character creator as you die more. That might be interesting as well. But that's total speculation.
Yeah.
What's not speculation and what's good information for our listeners and watchers is Alt H, right? So that is new, and try to remember that. It makes it easy to come on and off with that helmet. Some of us forget to put our helmets on entirely. So Alt H is a nice quick key so that we can save ourselves before we die. Good stuff. I want to come back to you, Yo-Yo, and ask you this. When we talk about Star Citizen as a game, well, I didn't give my opinion. Let me give my opinion real quick about this thing. Why is it important to me? Sorry, I didn't talk about my thoughts. It's very important to me. I'm 53, been gaming since 1976, and I have always struggled with gaming experiences where I didn't have the option to try and create myself in the world, right? So lots of times I might want to create somebody else, but it's a rare game that I play where it's imposed upon me to play as someone else, right? I like the customization, I like the options, and so we have taken a meaningful step in that direction with this creator for me, and we'll see the different characters that Jade and Yo-Yo and I have created since 323 Ep.201, or for Jade all the way back maybe to Evocati. But it's important to me because I want to do exactly what I want to do in the game, right? And when those options aren't available to me, it very often bothers me. Now, there are other experiences out in the gaming world that, I'm okay with that. Like The Witcher is about a specific story, about a specific character, right? And that character has characteristics, right? Like it was written that way, and then it was translated that way in the game. So when you play as Geralt of Rivia, then you're playing as Geralt of Rivia, right? So I'm cool with that. But in these types of games, I feel a little bit different, and so it's very important to me to be able to represent and express myself and be myself in these spaces. Yeah, I agree with that in the chat. Let's talk about character creation in Star Citizen. Thrakazog, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Very appreciative of that. And whoever got it, if you take a moment to thank Thrakazog, we'd appreciate that as well. Great stuff. Why is making a custom avatar important to the success of Star Citizen? Yo, what are your thoughts on that? Is it important at all? Is that an assumption I'm making?
Yeah, I think it's important because it's a simulation. I definitely think it's necessary. I think I would just go back to what I was talking about earlier, being able to feel like you're actually immersed in the game and seeing the traffic of I just think like when we had the server mesh test, when there were so many people at the terminals and so many people just everywhere, right? Like, I don't know. I just don't want to see the same 5 individuals That you just hit random on. Like, I want to see some I don't know, diversity, I guess.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's important to the game. Whether people are gonna hit random or not, it's gonna be nice to see the difference and that it's not the same thing you're walking into every single day.
Yeah.
Or else the game's just
Hey,
probably gonna die, get boring.
well, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think that that would contribute to it, right? Like if you're on an arc of excitement, growth, or you're on an arc of diminishment and boredom, right? Definitely, seeing the same couple of faces would be on that second arc, right? It wouldn't stimulate my interest, right? Jade, what about you?
Yes.
What like it would if Second Life didn't have character customization, would you have stayed?
No, and I think most people wouldn't have because a
Yeah,
lot of, Second Life's appeal, at least initially, and this is before my time, but it was, you could create yourself, right? You could
right.
create a second life of you in this virtual world. And why I think it's important to Star Citizen
Mm,
is simply what Meg just said about representation and being able to have a visual representation of yourself. Um, I think a lot of people, I mean, it is an MMO, right? So I think a lot of people, potentially look at the game first through, the ships and all that. But then when they start really getting into the first person aspect of it, they kind of want someone that represents them, whether it's, someone that looks like them or maybe some character from sci-fi or whatever. I think that's super, super important. And I also think that games, and this could be controversial, but I think that games that offer more customization, and I'm thinking things like Black Desert Online,
hmm
Final Fantasy, I think
hmm
that you get a much more diverse population as far as gender, um, just in general, right? Like, and I
Right.
that's more money coming into CIG. If you don't if look at it in any other way than crass capitalism, having more customization options for more people to have infinite diversity in infinite ways is good for the game.
Yeah. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations is always good. It's always good. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that I don't think you can make the claim of universe, the most immersive, ambitious universe sim of all time, with a goal of getting tens, if not hundreds of millions of players to play, which is what Xylo said to Linus's Tech Longer segment as what the ambition is. And this was last year. I don't think you can do that if people don't have a overwhelming number of choices in how they want to represent themselves, right? Um, I think people are going to need to be able to represent themselves. To your point, Jade, with a photorealistic verisimilitude of themselves, or however they want to represent themselves. But the maximization of those choices is is important. I can tell you, my daughter, she studies in Central Europe, but when she was here and I introduced Star Citizen to her, she was interested, but she wanted to wait for this feature, right? And
Yeah.
she plays games and spends a lot of time, like say The Sims. She'll spend hours she went in the customizer for The Sims, right? Just looking and getting things a certain way. And so, yes, other things are tied to this, like fashion. And I know Jade could go on for a while about that, right?
Oh
Like how
yeah.
we've got to that's that, but that's representation, right? And so I think it's extremely important to the game's longevity that this type of feature came in and that it continues to be iterated on. They've talked a lot about, and they'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a minute we'll see it in a minute in the CitizenCon video, that this is the beginning, right? And that there's more to come. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So at this point, we're running a little behind on where we want to be. So let's jump into it, because what we want to do is make sure that we elevate and celebrate CIG's voice, because they went deep on this in a video or in a segment at CitizenCon 2953 called Character Advancement. So we're going to sit back, relax, go get yourself some popcorn, get yourself some, what I'm gonna get is some curry chicken, right? That's how I'm gonna do it tonight. And and we're gonna watch the video, and then after the video, we're gonna have a quick commercial, and then after the commercial, we're going to react to that video and react to what you all say as we catch it in chat as well, right? So this video again is CitizenCon 2953. It's called Character Advancement.
Hello there. Hey everyone, it's so good to see you all again in person. Thanks for coming out. So I'm Ian, I'm the art director for Star Citizen. We're going to kick off the first ever day 2 of CitizenCon by talking about some of the awesome work done by the character team. All right. So first let's talk about life in a frontier system like Pyro and how this influences the character designs. So we wanted to create something unique compared to what we've seen in Stanton already. We wanted to give a wider visual palette and a feeling of historical age between the different solar systems. So this chart describes the fashion pillars for humanity. We can see where all suits, armors, and fashion items should belong. In terms of material use, manufacturing technology, and novelty. So you can see Earth fashion on the left, Terra fashion on the right, and frontier fashion right in the middle with a little bit of overlap of Earth. So essentially, frontier fashion is function over form. They are repurposed and repaired, and generally are misfits rather than sets. Outfits are purposeful by having storage solutions. This implies survivability along the frontier. Okay, let's take a look at some of these assets in the game. Okay, awesome. So hopefully you guys that played Pyro Playground, you will have seen a few of those assets being showcased. So as we saw from the video, pouches and storage are a key part of the Frontier aesthetic. This drives the feeling of survivability. But from here, we thought it'd be really cool to give the functionality, but also some customization options. So let's take a look at a video we just developed internally, and this is for modular storage items on the player. Pretty cool, right? So I think this will provide loads of customization options in the future. We're super happy about that. So we also created some extreme weather costumes for Frontier locations, and these also follow the same mismatched and repurposed design aesthetics. Now, we've also been focusing on achieving a higher visual benchmark. So this is all driven by our new Layer Blend V2 shader and its texture library. And we focus on more consistent wearing between 0 and 100% values. So to showcase this, let's look at a quick example asset. All right. So as we saw in the video, the insides of the helmets are looking fantastic. Now this is us getting them ready to animate with put on and take off. So in summary, Frontier Fashion is expanding the visual design palette for humans, giving a more credible feeling of age and history when you travel across multiple solar systems. All right, now let's talk about something different. Now we're going to talk about some of the gangs in Star Citizen. So Ninetales have been one of the main gangs in the game. So far, over 105 million have been taken out by you guys. So you guys have been busy. Great job. All right. So it was like, all right, now we're going to need to introduce a few more factions to the game, okay? So the first faction we're going to talk about is Rough and Ready. So the aesthetic of the gang was to be subtle. They're understated in terms of clothing, and they almost blend into their environment. On closer inspection, you'll notice their tattoos. These signify rank and progression within the gang. Let's take a look at a quick video. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Okay. So the Rough and Ready can be found in some of the space stations around Pyro. Now the tattoos, like I said, the tattoos form a progressive design. This illustrates the hierarchy within the gang. As a player, you'll be able to earn these tattoos and apply them to your character. Okay, cool. The next gang we're going to talk about is Headhunters. So this gang is also located in Pyro, but offers a completely different frontier aesthetic. More of a wasteland vibe with lots of personality, and this will translate into the behavior types. Now this gang is currently in production, but let's take a quick sneak peek. Okay, so cosplay competition next year. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. All right. All right, so they're looking awesome. Now, the last gang we want to talk about is Dusters. So Dusters are a criminal gang specializing in mining-related crimes. Now, internally, I love the original Desert Nomad armor. You can see him here, right? Now, I wanted to use it as a starting point to establish the Dusters design language. So here we can see the Dusters gang lineup showing armor leveling and rarity. So as a player, you'll have horizontal armor progression. This will define your role and playstyle. Then you'll have vertical progression. This is your progression within that role and playstyle. For example, a common bounty hunter armor set will be weaker than a legendary, and as armor progresses in strength, it's harder to acquire. So harder missions, rarer drops, higher reputation. Now, as we're talking a little bit about armor sets, let's recap a little. So the goal is that players should consider which armor to equip based on the role they wish to fill and the scenario they're heading into. There will be also greater differences between the current armor types. So light, medium, and heavy, and this will be in protection and mobility. New armor categories will be combat, specialist, utility, and support. And these will define the type of items that are quickly available on the slots of the suit. There will also be additional functionality to assist in your chosen role. A matrix of armor type versus category will provide a variety of roles, with each providing best-in-class benefits. There will also be hindrances to out-of-role gameplay. For example, if you're wearing a heavy armor set and you're trying to fly a little snub fighter, you'll have restricted visibility and less vehicle control. So in this scenario, like a flight suit armor type with resistance to milder G-forces would be preferred. Okay. So as we saw in Ali's presentation yesterday, hygiene simulates and tracks the accumulated effects of a character going unwashed for any length of time. Poor hygiene can lead to disease, lowered health, and snarky comments. Hygiene decays faster if a character becomes dirty or wears dirty clothing or armor, and visual effects are going to be displayed on the character's skin, such as blood, sweat, and dirt. Certain usables, such as a shower, will reset the character's hygiene and clean away all of those dirt effects. So let's keep clean. Yeah. Okay, so that covers a quick recap on armor sets and hygiene. Let's get back to a video showcasing the dusters. Awesome. So you'll be able to find the dusters scattered around various derelict settlements and wrecks in Stanton, and the dusters will be available Q4 this year. And with that, I'll hand you over to Sean Tracy. You guys have been awesome. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I'm Sean Tracy. I'm the Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content here at Cloud Imperium Games in Los Angeles. So today, I want to talk about Starcloth. And Starcloth was initially unveiled at a previous CitizenCon, kind of in an early stage. So it's now rolled into full production, and it's used in both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So it's going to be seen on more and more assets, like some of the great art that you just saw. So what's really cool about it is that it's unified with the physical world, whereas before it wasn't unified and was based completely on character movement. Now, it's faster than the previous cloth setups, and in the end, it just looks a whole lot better. So today, I'm going to cover some of the tech, the pipeline, and we'll see some results. So let's get and see it in action. Trench coat. Cloth is hard. Guys have to run upstairs, they have to crouch, they have to prone, it's got to collide with the environment. And even more difficult, it needs to hold up in high-end cinematics. Cut that one just before some good spoilers, so yeah. All right, so how's it all work? Well, Cloth uses two meshes, a simulation mesh or cage, and the render mesh itself. So vertex colors indicate how it's constrained to that cage, and thus the simulation. So for example, black vertex colors indicate a full constraint. Basically, it follows the skinning. White vertex colors indicate unconstrained vertices. So the movement is determined entirely by the simulation. And then we can do a blend of gray values that is used for fine transitions and blending and fall off in between the fully skinned and fully simulated assets. So in the end, these meshes are sent to the engine where we bind the cage to the render mesh, and then tech artists can leverage some of the runtime tools. You can see up on the image that the sim cage mesh has about 5,000 triangles, whereas the actual render mesh is about 45,000 triangles. So it's obviously much more efficient to simulate the sim cage mesh versus just the render mesh itself. So part of the technology is the runtime iteration support, which you can see in the image above me here. That's with all the red spheres. Here we're actually painting the collision radius of every single one of the vertices, and it allows us to fine-tune the simulation without having to add arbitrary collision meshes, though we can. We paint a variety of properties, so some of these other properties are mass or displacement. In the top right, you can see an example of the old legacy implementation using pendulums. And this uses joint chains and collisions, but assets with multiple layers like the one that you can see there, or ones like skirts or gowns, they were really, really difficult to do with pendulum simulation, but they are solved with StarCloth. So I mentioned it's completely unified with the physical world. And what that really means is that wind, impacts, object collisions, thruster backwash, all these kind of things actually react to the cloth reacts to these things, and so much more. So it's not just character movement. Now, it's a hyper-efficient simulation, and it's several orders of magnitude faster than the legacy implementation that we used before, and has a lot of easy-to-control parameters for tech art, which are compression, stretching, and bending. So as mentioned yesterday by Chris Rain, our senior lead physics programmer, we support soft-body tapered capsules, which are twice as fast as our ragdoll capsules. It's also key to solving one of the most important aspects of plausible cloth simulation, and that's mitigating the tunneling or the clipping that happens through a character. So it's very, very difficult to solve with pendulums. So with all this tech in mind, we can do really complicated assets like the duster and the one I want to show you now. So here you're seeing about 5 different layers of cloth going on and self-colliding between each other. It's reacting to the planet wind, which is always changing. On the front, there's a big leather apron. So this one's actually a lot heavier, and it moves a lot differently than the cloth on the back. So he's walking into the wind here. And in the end, as I mentioned, it just looks a whole lot better. So with that, I want to hand you off to my friend, Andre Piers, who's going to talk about hair.
Thank you, man. Hi, everyone. So, nice to be here in LA with all you guys. So, I want to start with a question, okay? How many of you are actually excited that we're getting new hair into the verse? All right. So, I'm Andre. I'm the lead artist in our recently formed hair department. We branched out from the character art team and created this department. And it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you and tell you that we're damn proud of what we achieved. It's been a long road, but definitely worth it, okay? Now, we're going to start by just looking at the most impactful changes that we have in our workflow, okay? A bit of a technicality part. Then you're going to get to look at the benchmark assets we have created, okay? And from there, we're going to take a glimpse into the future of what hair could be with a more diverse hairstyle, where we're trying to run away a little bit from the military look that was driven mostly by what Squadron 42 was, so because we did a lot of work for that as well. And yeah, from there, as a last note, I'll have a special announcement for you guys, okay? Don't want to spoil it, but you stick around, you're going to love what we have, okay? So, first thing I want to touch note, very simply, okay? Hair for games is hard. It's really hard. Oh, by the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets in the persistent universe? Fully rendered in our engine, okay? Game ready, performant, ready to be shipped, okay? So, hair is really hard, like I was saying. It is a AAA challenge, basically. You see games that get it, games that don't. Some of them get it more or less. Either way, for us, the challenge is the same. We're not different, and the challenge is real. With the scope of Star Citizen, like day-night cycles, all these light shafts, all this MMO, people running around with the hairs, a lot of motion, a lot of fast-paced movement. Yeah, it is hard. But the best thing is we have arrived, okay? It is, yeah, clap. It is, it doesn't end here, okay? Yeah. It does not end here, okay? It's the nature of CIG. We just keep pushing the boundaries, but like I said, we're really proud of what we're showing you here today. So let's dive in what we made all this possible, okay? On a high note, on a high level, basically, a successful hair requires 3 fundamental elements, okay? There's the texture, there's the placement, and there's also the shader. If one of these elements fails, all of them do. Okay, so it's basically, you can have a great texture, great placement. If your shader is wrong, no go, really. And the same if the texture fails or if the placement fails. So really vital, really important that everything works together. But the good thing is, by breaking down the hair into these 3 parts, it also allows us to actually go deep into each of them and push the quality up. Or like Chris Roberts would say, bring the high fidelity, right? So, on the texture end, there was a lot of changes. What you see on the top there, the common approach of a AAA game would be to have true black, true white on a transparency map, a bit of taper on the tips and roots, and call it a day. That's what happens in 99% of the games. Now at CIG, we went a bit further than that. We tested all the thicknesses that were actually reasonable to test, of course, and we came to a realization. The hair doesn't need to be thin enough. It just needs to look thin. We do need it to be thicker enough, thicker than the real-life hair, because if you take one of your hairs, you'll see it's really thin, right? So it does need to be renderable. That means if it's really thin, it will be sub-pixel rendered at some point. With the motion and all that, we will get a lot of artifacts. And so that would be a no-go. We do need it to be thicker than in real life. But can we make it look thin? That was the question. So we came to the realization that from hair, or from scalp to hair, and from hair to the background, so these 2 points, the transition points, are the most important ones for the hair. So we aggressively tapered the tips, which is what you see over there, and added a gradient to it. So no longer true black and true white. Now, this is a lot of technicality. You will see practical examples of this, but that allowed us to have smooth transitions and basically achieve the result we expected. On the placement side, we came up with hair libraries, basically. Now, I could be here all day talking about hair libraries, okay? Because I'm a very technical person, and if you see me around the venue, feel free, I'm Andre. You can just come and talk to me about this. I'm not going to bother you all that for 1 hour about this, but I'm going to give you a very quick example that you all can relate. So imagine in real life, you have a construction business, and you could make one wall, one roof, one floor, and one window. You make it all work together, and from there, you're not only building your house, you're actually building the whole town, and then the whole state, and then eventually the whole universe, right? That's what air libraries are. Obviously, the result, if you could do that, it would be much cheaper, much faster, and above all, you wouldn't have a fruit salad of assets, which was what we had in the hair not too long ago. And by fruit salad, I mean several artists working through the years, each one of them applying their own workflow. Everybody's at different levels of quality, of course, different minds, different ways of seeing the same problem. So at the end of the day, fruit salad, right? And we wanted uniform quality. So for that, air libraries are a great solution. We also decreased the time of production of hairs. So it was taking us 20 to 40 days to create one hairstyle per artist, okay? Right now, it's going from like 3 to 5, 7 days per hairstyle, which is that great news, okay? So yeah, that was major achievement. Cool. So hair libraries are just a thing. We love it. It's not just picking up a texture and putting it there. If you do that, like, you need to actually see the scope. Gladly, we have some of the best artists in the world on hair working with us, so we managed to achieve this at the scope that we wanted. Now, on the shader side, there was plenty of changes as well. Some of them are very techy, very cool as well. I'm going to run through fast through some of them so you guys can understand the scope of what we're dealing with. But let's just understand, like, at bake time, so bake time is prior to runtime. Runtime is where the game runs. Bake time, we're preparing the asset to actually put it in the engine. At bake time, we calculate the custom normal and we store it per vertex. So each vertex gets a custom normal. That makes, in a practical sense, for those who are not too technical, it basically makes the card, the air card, not look like a card. So the normals is help with the way the light reflects. We kind of do more smoke and mirrors on it and make it look not like a card by just baking it that way. Now, on the ambient occlusion, we store two baked ambient occlusions onto the color channels of the vertices as well. Now, each vertex on a mesh in any game has a color to it, okay? You might use it or not. Imagine in a car, you have a trunk. You can use it or not. It's up to you. It's not silly to use the car without using the trunk, of course, but if you have a luggage, you can put it there or in the back seat, wherever you want. Now, we decided to use this because it was free. The trunk was already there, so the vertex color was already there, and we just decided to store two ambient occlusions on it. These two ambient occlusions work this way. Light hair, like a blonde hair, obviously needs more shadowing, or less shadowing than a dark hair, right? And so we store two. The length of the card is now baked onto the last one, and that gives us a metric of where the card starts and ends, and allows a lot of cool things you're going to see on the videos I'm about to show. So one last thing before we can start looking at videos is that, and this is really creative, total credit for the people, for the tools programmers. I personally had nothing to do with this. This was already at CIG when I joined. It's absolutely amazing. So we have an hairstyle that was ready, that you can see over there. And we have a hair cap. An hair cap is basically a mesh on top of the character's head, which is invisible, transparent. It is just there. Sometimes we use it for shadowing. That thing has an UV. And so we project the hair, or where the hair starts, onto that UV, and gives us that image that you see on the middle, right? And so we now have a 2D space that relates to a 3D location. Meaning that if I want to have hair like mine, which is white on the sides and dark on the top, I could just paint this part and get it white on one side and then dark on the top, which is an insane advancement because cards normally are stacked on top of each other. So when an artist is placing cards, if you paint one card to make it white here, well, it's going to be stacked on top of the other and you're going to get spots all over the place and no control over it. So this allows us to give control. And what you see on the last image is the possible results. For example, now I can paint one side of my 2D representation of my 3D space and get this possible result, which is pretty amazing. So next video, we're going to take a look at our tools, okay? This is not the way it's going to be exposed to you guys in the character customizer. You will know more about that later, okay? This is the tools we use we are able to actually create the hairstyles. So let's take a look at this video. You have the full range, so you can go for full white. These are melanin ranges, so realistic ranges. Fully white up to black. Obviously, you can go redhead as well. Get out of the way. You also have the dye feature where you can see all the things we talked about implemented. You can go a bit more wild on this. And this is why important the length of the card is stored in those vertexes. And obviously you can fade it as well as much as you do. So all the possible combinations between the realistic melanin ranges and the dye layer, okay? This is how the occlusion is working, so you can see these shadowings, creating more negative spaces, more structure to the hair. And if you look at the temporal line here, you can see how this pixel depth set helps us with the transitions as well. Cool. By the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets, ready to go to the PU? So now that we understand a bit better how the hair is working, that's why the boring part that I told you just before, you can examine these images with a bit more of an informed opinion. That is basically the example. Now, that's all very exciting, but we want to show you hairstyles that are actually in Star Engine and working. So that's the video we're going to take a look next, okay? Great, guys. So I can see by your feedback that you really enjoyed the dive, so I'm going to try and direct things that way next time. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, these are game-ready assets as well. Now, like I promised you, we're trying to make this diverse and get away a little bit from this type of hairstyles you just see now, which is a bit more military. And for that, we'll have the next video. Now, it's important for you to understand if there's any 3D artists, character artists, air artists out there, you will know. Some of the hairstyles you're going to see next are some of the hardest things you can do in hair for games. In a practical sense, if you can do what is going to be shown next and render it at 60 frames per second on an MMO, you can do pretty much anything. Okay? It's our glimpse into the future of what type of diversity we want to achieve. We're not only going for this style, but just showing you that if this style is one of the directions, then the full range will come. I hope you enjoy. Thank you, guys. So yeah, like I've been saying, these pictures you see here, they are all rendered as you see in real time, depending on the light conditions and stuff. But there is no tricks here. This is actually how it looks. And that's why we're really proud. Like I said, it doesn't end up here, okay? We're pushing this forward. This is just to replace the stuff that was there. I'm pretty sure you guys were tired. Nobody at CIG was happy with what we had. I can assure you that. Yeah. Especially as an air artist, right? So, but we finally arrived. Now, we've seen all this. What does this mean in a practical sense for you guys? It's the question you may have. Well, let me tell you really fast. We made over 75 hairstyles since like 6 months ago. On the last 6 months, we made 75 hairstyles. That is a lot. That was possible with all the changes we made. Yeah. Yeah. That is a great achievement. Now, we cannot hand them all to you right now. It's very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't end up here at the artist end, okay? After this, there's a tech art pass where they need to skin it, they need to make it work with hats, with goggles, with everything that needs to work, right? So it's a process that takes time, but we wanted to have a certain amount, a quantity that would be enough to replace all the stuff that it's there, give you enough variety for you to start, and that's what we're going to see next. Now, it also tells you when are you getting it. So, as a last note, I'll leave you with this video, and next, Forrest will come here to talk about this stuff. So, let's take a look at this, guys. This is actually what you're getting. Into the PU. So before the year ends, you're all gonna get to enjoy these hairstyles. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, guys, and see you in the verse.
Another round of applause for Andre and getting new hairs into the game. I can't wait to put new hair on my character, I'll tell you that. And for Ian and his awesome character team and the amazing characters they showed us earlier. Absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna run through this, we don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna talk to you about character heads. We've talked about hair. We have talked about outfits. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the heads and our pipeline and getting us from the actors that we hire to do the photogrammetry all the way to the game characters. So we have a DNA pool, expansion, and customization I'm going to be taking you through. We made a data-driven pipeline for adding new heads. So what is a DNA pool? DNA pool is just a bunch of heads that we put into the game. That way you can modify the ears, the nose, the chin, the mouth, and you could interpolate between all the different heads. A DNA pool. We want to expand the pool and allow for more selection and range. So we scanned 60 new heads for our DNA pool, 60 new heads. And we processed them internally. We also added customizable facial features, skin tones, complexion, makeup layer on top, revisited the eyes. These characters look new and they look great. All right, so our current pool, there's the 18 heads right there, but that wasn't enough. We need more. That is our new pool. Very exciting. Right now in the PU, when you're playing, see that center row? You get 9 females and 9 males. And now we're going to be getting all these characters. It's for Squadron and the Persistent Universe. How do we do it? Well, we partnered with Clear Angle over in Pinewood, London. And they have this thing called the Clear Angle Dorothy scanner. The scanner improvements allows us to get shoots done in 4 weeks of sessions. Custom coded flash that just kind of does it automatically, all calibrated. In seconds. To give you an idea, our old process for doing this took hours to calibrate. This thing does it in seconds. Talk about state of the art. Average of 4 scan actors per day now. We used to be doing 1. What this means to you is we can get you characters faster. We can get you new heads faster. Polarized image data resulted in improved spec, blah, blah, blah. Those are awesome texture maps that we could put on the head. That way we could render them, make them look really good. Photogrammetry captured in raw images at 8K texture map resolutions. Hyper accurate scan results. Now, close your eyes if you're a little sensitive to light. This is the process we use to get the pictures, to build the photogrammetry, to calibrate the cameras.
Cool. Relax. So the rig just think about
All right. So we got some characters here on the screen. Those are all built using all these things that I've briefly mentioned. I want to talk to you a little bit about skin tone though. Skin tone's tricky because we want to apply it. We want to be able to customize it. We want you to have the ability to do whatever you want. So what you see is some really weird looking characters. We see a head with some yellow. Yellow's good in this case. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the average skin color. Once we find the average skin color, we can figure out what that skin tone is, and then we can apply it. The blue means it's further away from the average skin tone. So when you apply your skin tone, it has less influence, keeping those high details, keeping the color, the blemishes, the imperfections. That middle one, that whitehead, that's where we get once we've extracted the data. it's now ready to apply the skin tone, which you see at the end. All right, so here's a little more detail what I'm talking about. We knew that we were going to get a pool for these heads, this pool of all these different awesome shapes, noses, ears, lips. But now, with what we're doing currently, you can see that we have calibrated all of our source photos of our actors. And with that, we could figure out exactly what they're supposed to look like. And then once I extract and do the average thing, I'm able to get a value. And that value translates into a skin tone. And that skin tone translates into a chart that you can customize your character with. And what's great about this is as we grow our pool and we get more heads, we get more skin tones. So our skin tones aren't based on, you know, whatever it should be. What should it be? What does it look like? These are real data. These are real data that we get from these incredible clear angle scans and the incredible tech that is written by our staff. And the skin tone will grow along with our head data and along with our heads. And there's an example of me just applying it and showing that in practice. And now here's another look. Here's a couple more characters that I put together with this stuff. And here's what's great about that. I did that with our brand new character creator, character customizer for Squadron 42. Every head you see in here, which will also be applied to the persistent universe, so all heads are in the verse. And as you can see right here, here's a little scene I put together using the outfits, using the hair, using the skin, using the heads. And I did that all with the new character creator. And here to show you that, it's a live demo of the character creator, I'm going to bring back my good friend Sean Tracy.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, it's awesome. All right, so what's this all mean to you guys? Let's show ya. Time for live demo. All right, so I want to welcome you to the Biotic Corp Calliope machine. All right, so here you can see we've got the, whoa, I'm getting feedback. You can see we've got two body types that I can select from at any point in time. So we're gonna start in right away. Now you might recall how the character creator currently works. You would have a whole bunch of source heads from our DNA pool. We would select one of the facial shapes, and then we'd blend it up or down, depending on how much you wanted that certain facial shape. Now, this was pretty good, but it's not the most intuitive of systems. So instead, what we wanted to come up with was a much more intuitive way to control this. And what we've now introduced is sculpting mode. So it's quite interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes, and this wasn't an easy problem to solve, but our animation programmers and tech artists and everybody came together, and they figured out a way to basically make it so that from the DNA pool, we are making a selection based on what you want out of it. So it's going on between all the different options. Now, I'm going to start making some changes here right away. So I want to wind up the nose. You can see that it's all very intuitive. It's fast to use. I'm going to make the lips a little bit bigger here. There we go, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to adjust the brow here, maybe make a little bit of a heavier brow. Now we can adjust the eye shape. We can go more almond eyes. We can go more oval. We can have a heavy lid. You know, I can find a whole bunch of different options within here. So here, we're starting to look pretty good. I want to give him a little bit more of a hero chin. There we go. I'm liking that. Yes. That's cool. All right. So not to spend too much time on that, I want to show you some of the other features. And speaking of features, we go to our skin tone. So finally, you're not just selecting a preset skin tone. You can move through the whole gamut of the lookup table. And this is melanin and hemoglobin at the same time. So at the very top of it, I've got a texture slider. So instead of the whole head sort of selection, we can go between all the different textures now. Like Forrest mentioned, we're going to have 30 of these for one body type and 30 for the other body type. So here, I'm kind of liking, what am I like? Oh, I like this one. So here, and I'm just going to set a skin tone that I kind of like. Something like that. That's cool. All right. So the next step in our skin tone is the complexion. And complexion, we've added freckles. So here I'm just blending in and I'm blending out the amount of freckles. Now I've cranked it all the way to the top just so you guys can see it. But for my character here, I'm going to keep it kind of subtle, like this, but quite a few of them. Something like that. We've also got sunspots. Now this is, a little more weathered skin. We'll give this sort of look. And we've got a whole bunch of different blemish masks planned for you guys. Whether that's sunspots or liver spots or anything to that effect. Now, I'm going to give this guy kind of a weathered look because I think the skin tone looks pretty cool like that. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, so next up, eyes. So no longer do we have the green and the brown, just the full selection. You've got a full RGB chart of what you want to select. So if you want to have bright green eyes, if you want to have hazel eyes, if you want to have blue eyes, if you want to have any of these eyes, this is all very, very nice. So again, we can go with deep browns. We can go with sort of a steely blue, which I'm kind of digging for this skin tone. I quite like that look. That's cool. Oh, well, we'll get into some funky colors. Don't you worry. All right. So one of the other things we've added, and it was mentioned before, we've added a makeup layer. And with the makeup layer, we're totally inclusive. Any of the body types can have makeup. Now, I don't want to spend too long on it here because we're going to get into it in a couple minutes. But I just want to show you sort of blending that in, blending that out for this particular body type. So next, as Andre talked about, we have all the hairstyles that you could want. So I'm just going to pick a couple different ones. There's a reality for some of us and another reality for another one of us. There it is. That's what I want my reality to be here. Something like this. I'm digging the mohawk, though, for this one. He's got a bit of a Mr. T look to him. I kind of like this. Yeah, I pity the fool. All right. So it might go without saying that we've got beards now. So if you want to select a full beard, you can select a full beard. If you want just mutton chops, you got your mutton chops. You want your handlebar, you got your handlebar. All right. So we've got all the different beard types that you could want, and we're going to add as many as you guys really want. So I'm kind of digging the full beard for this guy. Yeah, I'm digging the full beard for this guy. Even further to that, we've got eyebrow selection, which is, you could go with no eyebrows. That's a very real. You could have bushy ones. You can have a little bit more, normal, kind of straightforward ones. But it was mentioned before during the hair and with Forrest's discussion that we've got the hair dye as well. So with the hair dye, you can affect all the hair at once, and right now I've got all selected, so I can go through the gamut of all the different hair melanin that you can set. So here I'm just going to darken it up a little bit, and if I wanted to dye the facial hair, I could just dye the facial hair all by itself, setting a dye color here, something like that. But in the end, I'm really digging the jet black on this particular one. So I'm gonna frost these tips a little bit. I think that's gonna look kind of cool. Let's set a bit of a blonde here, turn up the dye amount. And then what's really cool about this, and I'll show this in a minute, is that we can actually control the fall off of it. So again, if I just want this on the tips, I can just blend it right about here. So there we go. He looks a lot different than how that started, and I think that's actually pretty fun. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I can't wait for you guys to explore it and spend as much time as you want customizing and expressing yourself as a character. So once you're done, you've got to sign off a personal declaration that the physical appearances that the calliope process has allegedly caused are okay with you. So let's go to our next body type. All right. So I'm going to go to town here real fast, right away. And you might think it looks a little off or so, but I don't know. We're going to get there. Let's make some changes here. I'm going to adjust the bridge of the nose, maybe a little bit of the cheekbones here. That's maybe a little extreme. Let's go back here, something like that. And I'll make the lips a little bit smaller here, and I'm going to lengthen that chin for a little more of a triangle kind of face here. So you can see, you can tweak to your heart's content. You can spend a lot of time doing this. And I don't really like the brows. I like a little bit softer of a brow for this particular character. And that's looking pretty good to me, actually. So next, just like we did before, we go into features. We can do the skin tone. I'm going to select a certain texture here, just because we got to get going on time here. Let's go. Something around here is looking pretty good to me. Cool. All right, we go into the complexion the same way that we did before. So we start with the freckles. And I kind of like a real freckled appearance on this particular character. And I'm going to turn down the sunspots. So we move forward to the eye color again. Ooh, I'm really digging the green. Yeah, I like the green kind of look. And we get to the makeup. Now, this is where I wanted to spend more time. Now, I'm arguably not very good at this, but I will do my absolute best to show you guys how you can use it. So first is the eyeliner. So the eyeliner, we can do any color. You can go as crazy or as chill as you want to go with this. But for this particular, I'm going to go quite dark here, just in the dark sort of fuchsias and purples. Here, we'll do in the inner lid eyeshadow. And that I'm kind of keeping the same theme, I think. Yeah, and we're going to do the same thing with the broad eyeshadow. So again, we can go as crazy or as calm as you want. So what I've had good success in doing is kind of having it cranked, and then I just pull it back to a little more of a natural blend, something to this effect here. Next is the lips. We can do the exact same stuff on the lips. Now what we have is a whole bunch of different makeup masks, and you've got 3 different channels within those masks, so basically 3 different colors that are affecting different areas of it. Now for the lips, we can go with the same sort of theme if we wanted. And I think I'm actually kind of digging that. And let's go on the lip liner, a little darker. And then lips are a lot more glossy, so we can increase the gloss there, so that looks a little more like a lip gloss. Yeah, that looks pretty cool there. And then, like I was doing before, I kind of just pull it back a little bit. And there we are. So next. Oh, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. I have no business doing that, that's for sure. Same thing on the hair. Again, we've got a whole bunch of different hairstyles. These will all be shared between the 2 body types, but for this particular demo, we've got the ponytail, we've got the slick back kind of look. Yeah, I'm not finding one I'm really digging yet. Ah, yes, now we're talking. All right, so cool. Now, again, we're fully inclusive here, guys. So if you want facial hair on any body type, you got facial hair on any body type. That is up to you guys. So on the eyebrows, I'm just going to leave them because we can't really see them anyways. But for the hair, I really like dyeing this hair a certain color, sort of, something in the darker range. I'm going to turn that down. I like the nice jet black. Look at the makeup bounce out. That looks cool. I'm going to turn up the dye, though, and I'm going to try to carry my same theme forward here. There we go. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a fall off, as we can do. So it's just on the tips there. So let's see that in action. All right. So now, at first, we weren't sure about that character, right? But in the end, I think she turned out, definitely. So you go to a review, sign off your declaration again, and head to game. So, I'm really lucky to be able to sit in front of this. And again, it was a huge amount of work from tech art, engineering, designers, and specifically the Squadron feature team that has done all this work. And one of the cool things to note is that we use this now internally as a tool. That's why it's me up here demoing this. This is our tool internally for creating all these heads, for creating all the NPCs in the verse. Because as Chris put it one time, he doesn't want his NPCs to look lame. He wants them to look cool. And this gives you cool looking characters. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay. So, character customization. And that video again was the CitizenCon 2953 character advancement video. We are going to go to commercial, I believe, for a minute. Those of you that are subscribed to us will maybe see me drink some water, and then we'll talk about our thoughts. Somebody have to tell me if we're seeing a commercial.
I'm subscribed, so.
Yeah.
All right, subscriber only chat right now. What's your biggest takeaway from the video? Go. Have you made yourself in the character creator? Go. Do you just hit random in the character creator? Go.
My biggest takeaway from the video is that they described 4 variations on armor that we don't really talk about at all. So we don't really talk about combat versus specialist versus utility versus support armor.
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway. But
My biggest.
it's not quite in our wheelhouse for tonight, but I was like, wait, what? I forgot that they said that. Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no problem. My biggest takeaway was all the other heads from Squadron that we are going to get at some point. I mean, you can already do a lot with just what we have now, but when they add all those other heads, it's just going to, drastically increase what you can create. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, they said that we had 18 and they're going to 60. And when you saw that screen, we saw a lot of heads that we don't have yet.
Yeah.
We've gotten more, but we don't have all those yet. So yeah, I agree with you. What about you, Yo-Yo? Biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway is at the time of CitizenCon, we were blown away by how the character creator looked, and how it looks now is way different, in my opinion, than how it looked at CitizenCon, which just like reiterates in my brain that there's just going to be further iterations and growth of these things. Like you couldn't even, I don't know if y'all could, but like the points that you can maneuver on the head are like clear as day in the UI now. A lot of the UIs like or like the sections of the character creator are moved into like one area instead of in like 15 different tabs. I think there were like a lot more eyebrows. There's like there's a lot that was different about the character creator then and versus now. So I hope that hypes some people up.
Yeah, I agree. I think what they said was that was the character creator from Squadron 42. And so, yeah, as they've brought it over to the PU, it's already been evolved on, right? And my guess is some of these evolutions will go back to Squadron 42, before that gets launched. But yeah, it's definitely, you could definitely see some UI, UX work that was done to make it easier to cluster certain things versus, right, having it all over the place the way Sean was going back and forth, right, to show us different things. We already have it in one place. Yeah, good stuff. What else were your thoughts on this video? I'll talk a little bit really quickly about mine. Tattoos inspired me in a variety of ways, right? That it didn't when I first saw it at CitizenCon. When I first saw it at CitizenCon, I just really thought about it in the context of reputation with that gang, right? But now, when I'm back here and I'm thinking about it, because I have a tattoo on my back in real life that goes from like here all the way down, right? Huge tattoo across my whole back. And other games, you can customize that. So it started me thinking about tattoos. It started me thinking about piercings, about rings, earrings, other rings, jewelry, and in general. What are your thoughts on that? Do you want tattoos to be exclusive to reputation with some gangs, or do you want to see customization of that across the board? Either of you can go. Yeah.
I'd say both. I think there should be things separated for in-game rewards, reputation, things like that. But there should definitely still be the default stuff that you can mess with. And hopefully we do see some customization to the tattoos themselves, like not only having tattoos to put on, but being able to mess with like their size, their rotation, where they are in like the XY field. Yeah.
Jade, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to see both. Same. I like to see maybe you go to a location at some point. Just like one thing we didn't talk about is that, he introduced this as the biotic core Calliope machine, right? And at some point in the future, this will be something that once you've created your character, originally, you'll do further adjustments in the game, most likely at a Calliope location. I would love it if you go to Calliope also to get like tattoos. Like, obviously not the gang tattoos, but a tattoo or, different types of non-gang like tattoos. I'd also love to see them add jewelry, piercings, all of those things. Plus, of course, like we need more eyebrows, we need more complexions. The ones that they have now are a good start. It's pretty much, the way it is, though. I mean, we're still in alpha. There's going to be a lot more that comes. So this is a very good start, though.
For sure. Yeah, I think they could battle a lot of the hairs. That's on me.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like they could battle. I don't know how difficult this is. Like, I'm a developer, I don't design things like this, so I have no idea how hard this would be, how realistic it is. But being able to change with like a slider how long something is, or how short something is, like the eyebrows, bushiness, because like some of them do look good, but they're just like a little too bushy, or not bushy enough.
A little too long, right?
Yeah, same with hair. Yeah, like just like the beards, being able to choose like multiple beards, or like a mustache and mutton, like a certain type of mutton chop, stuff like that. But yeah, again, like we've said it a billion times, iteration like 1 or 2 or whatever. So we'll see changes probably.
Okay, we're gonna show
and we need
you all.
Meg's hair.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So we need Meg's hair in game.
We absolutely do.
Yeah,
we need Meg's hair, and we need variations on Meg's hair, and we need it as soon as possible. I agree.
I was gonna say I'm curious why we haven't seen the hairs they showed at CitizenCon, and like why we have the hairs that we have now. Because we could have Jade's hair right now.
Well, one of the things he said is that they also have to go through some other stuff with some other departments. So we saw them, but they have to go and get tech art, and they have to get matched up with helmets and all this other stuff. So maybe they're in process. Shoot as Cattle says what I was thinking as well, which is, you know, what about my opportunity to Nick Fury this thing, right? Will I be able to have one eye, right? An eye patch, wounds, lose an ear, have scars, right? That's interesting to me. The other thing that came to mind for me before we want to show you all some demonstrations of what we've done. But before we do that, the other thing I wanted to say is, what do y'all think about customization of the customization in Star Citizen, right? Should you be able to upload a tattoo that you make outside the game to your back or to your arm or to your leg? Should there be marketplaces for that stuff where creators can create things that other players can buy in or out of game or both? What are your thoughts on that type of stuff for customization?
As somebody who comes from Second Life, I absolutely am in favor of that. Obviously, you'd want to have some type of I would employ some machine learning AI, to recognize. You don't want hate symbols, right? Like being uploaded. But there's already solutions for that right now that do work. So it's not like they'd have to sit somebody there to vet every tattoo that somebody might upload. But yeah, I think that is the kind of thing that has led to the longevity of Second Life, is the fact that you have this customization of customization, as you put it, and it makes your character more you. It makes your character more something you want to take care of. And I feel like Chris Roberts really wants us to take care of our character and take care of our ships. And the more that we can customize both, I don't want to start the hex code conversation, but the more that we can customize both, the more that we feel that ship or person is an extension of ourselves, and we want to protect it. We want to fight for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you lose the iteration of yourself that's alive, right?
Right.
Imagine
with the whole
that.
death of a space person. I'll call it death of a space person because it is 2954. So yeah.
Fair enough. Death of the space human.
Right, exactly.
For now. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that customization of customization, Meg? Would you want to see that? Have any concerns?
I don't know, because it's 2024, not 2954. So I don't know if I want to be me. So this is an opinion, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like if it's too much for them to think about that stuff in the future, I'd want them to just stick to just making as many tattoo things as possible and having customizations for the things that they have, or have it be so potentially complex that you can remake that tattoo that you have in real life with the stuff you have in game. Because I don't know if anybody remembers, and I'm sure there are plenty of games out there, but Call of Duty Black Ops 1, maybe 2, you could customize your banner, your calling card, and people were doing they were making the craziest things with the default stuff you had available. I wish I could show you a video, but if you just give us circles, squares, lines, triangles, I don't know, you can flip those, change the opacity, and that's your tattoo. That, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
I get you. Tools in game allow for a lot of freedom as well. Exactly. Right. If they do that well. Right. If they do that well. Yeah, all right. Good stuff. Good stuff. We want to stay on time if we can, or as close to it as possible. One of the things that we thought would be cool for folks to see, because not everybody has access to the EPTU, right? Were opportunities for yoyoMeg and Jade and I to share examples of customizations that we've done in game. So I think it's Griff that's going to put these up. Why don't we start with yoyoMeg? Meg, once you see it on the screen, let me know. Tell us a little bit about it, and what it looks like, and what inspired you, and
Okay.
why.
to be very transparent, only one of these is going to be mine. Okay, because
Well, no, but that's a method too, right? Is like
yeah.
I created one, and then other ones I've asked people to send me or whatever, right? Because I know you've done some of that on your channel. Yeah.
Yeah. So this first one was actually made by Kragon. He might be in chat. I'm not sure if he still is, but
He was.
He was. This one was made by Kragon. This is a Space Grandpa. And I tried to make a Space Grandpa, but I couldn't get it right. I felt like the dude I made just looked too young, and I didn't know how to do it correctly. And so I saw this one, and I was like, "This is amazing." And I saw who made it, and it was Kragon, and I was like, "Perfect." But yeah, I think this looks great. I love mutton chops more than any type of facial hair. Mutton chops are amazing. And I never thought I would use a character with that type of hairstyle, but it just fits. The bushy eyebrows. It's just amazing. So yeah, that's that one.
Very cool.
This is the version -15. Yeah, I'm telling you, because I suck at this. There are people out here who have the passion, who have the skill, and it's not me. But I tried, and this is like, I think, a couple days ago. I don't know. I find it very hard to make myself without having glasses on my face, and also without my hairstyle. But I tried.
You just told CIG the next steps they need to take, right?
Yeah.
I know that they sell a couple of different glasses / goggle packs on the website. But at least having a standard set of glasses that we can use so that people could see their character in that context. So glasses and hairstyles, CIG, you know what we need to do. Because if this had your hairstyle, this isn't bad at all, right?
You think? Okay, thanks. Yeah, I definitely plan on like digging a little bit deeper and seeing how I can fix it, but that's definitely like version 1 of myself.
There we go. We're getting started. Tier 1. Yep. That's right.
Yep, tier 1.
Cool.
Ooh, this one, I forgot who made this.
It looks a little bit like somebody I know at the top of the organization.
Frogger Dog made this one, and has made a bunch of other ones as well. This is Chris Roberts.
Yeah.
It's Chris Roberts. I was running around as Jared, but I've been loving running around as Chris Roberts a lot. And the amount of people who just like do like second takes in the tram and are like, wait. Yeah, I love this one. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks very good. All of these look good. Good stuff.
Yeah, and this last one, I wish I could have sent a couple more, because this is also Frogger Dog. This is supposed to be Obi-Wan when he was younger, and he actually uploaded more like as Obi-Wan ages. So like that's what I was trying to say earlier about the potential like aging process you could do to your character right now. It's really it's on. I know Jade linked it earlier, but that Star Citizen character creator website that was made by the community, all of the Obi-Wan age versions that Frogger Dog made are up there for download, and yeah, it's really cool. I think this does look like Obi-Wan. But yeah, I like this one too, so I'll probably run around as him.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, and I saw the other one that sort of said this is him a little bit later, and his hair is longer. Yeah, and yeah, that one looks good too. Yeah, Ewan McGregor, good stuff. Jade.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Black Alert. So Star Trek
Black
Discovery.
Alert.
Yes, it's one of my favorite shows, sci-fi shows, and so I decided to make 2 characters from Star Trek Discovery. Obviously, Captain Michael Burnham and Cleveland Booker. So again, you can get pretty close with just the heads we have available to some people. And as we get more heads, we'll even be able to make even closer approximations. I made a bunch of characters like from sci-fi. There's a bunch I'm still working on too. But I've uploaded everything you see except for if we get to Maiden Ariana's character. Everything you see here is on that site, starcitizencharacters.com.
That is very good. That is very good. I knew who these were before I even glanced down at the picture.
Yes. Yep. And there you go. Kamina Drummer. That character is super popular. Like, that was the first one I uploaded and it just blew up. And then, of course, Amos Burton. So, from another one of my favorite shows, The Expanse.
From Baltimore.
Yeah,
Shout
from
out.
Baltimore. Exactly. From B More.
Yeah, I spanned the Beltalowda button on Paul, the Astropubs channel. I spam it. He had to put a timer on.
Nice.
I spam Beltalowda.
Beltalowda.
Okay.
And of course, here we have two Imperators, the current Imperator, Addison, and Blast from the past, Ivor Messer, the first Imperator.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, who weren't here, we voted for the new Imperator in the United Empire of Earth, and different candidates had different agendas. And Addison was running on a return to an investigation of the possibilities of AI, among other things. And so she was elected, and they said that they would inform the development of the game and experiences within the game. But this looks great. These look great.
Thank you. And
Very,
if you want
very good.
If you want to see what my current in-game avatar is, if you go to that site and you click on my name underneath those characters, you'll see my in-game character. I'm sorry I didn't send an image over of her, but yeah. And then this here is somebody many people on this channel may be familiar with. That is Maiden Ariana. And
We just got rated by this person.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. We just got rated by her, and I made her character. I was in Evocati, and I saw that she'd been added to Evocati, and so I was like, "Well, here I'll make her character, so that she gets like a head start on this." And yeah, and it was inspired by the Inside Star Citizen episode, which actually had CIG make her character, and coming up, I think we may have a reaction video to when they showed Maiden Ariana on Inside Star, or Maiden Ariana's character on Inside Stars, and from Buster Destroyer.
we may not, but we may.
Yeah, we may.
We may. I don't know, Griff. You'd have to. Oh, there it is. There it is.
That looks like Maiden Ariana. Oh my god, that's Maiden Ariana! They made Maiden Ariana! No fucking way! They made Maiden Ariana! That is 100% Maiden Ariana! That is Maiden Ariana! That is so fucking close! Oh my god, that's like so sweet! I love that y'all did that! It looks just like her! You got me, CIG. That's so. That looks exactly like Maiden. Oh, I'm sorry.
And that, people, is why character customization is important. Representation does matter, and I know it moved me too when I saw that. And you know, I heard right from Dilo, Tyler Whitkin from CIG during the 5-year anniversary of Yacht Club, that the reason they did that was, you know, they wanted to show you can make a character that represents you, and you can be whoever you want to be. And I thought, you know, that was really great that they used her as an example of that.
Absolutely, that's the power of it at its best. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, I think we have mine as well. And I am less I'm less innovative than you all. This is my wife. I'm trying to get her to play the game. She'll never play this game. She says that if it's more complex than an Atari 2600 controller, then she's not doing it. If y'all don't know, Atari 2600 was one button, one stick. So
Just put her in your turret.
Can she get into an Xbox
Button, one stick.
controller?
I don't think so. I
We
think
could get
she's gonna
Couch
be like-
Citizen to help her.
I think that my best will be to create her and then show her different areas of the verse. I think that's as close as we'll get. But I definitely wanted to make her, and that's pretty close. That's not bad at all. That's pretty close.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you show her?
I mean, not yet. Not yet.
Get her opinion.
Yeah. So we'll see how she feels about it. But I feel like that's pretty close. You don't look at yourself all the time unless you're a narcissist, right? So I look at her more than she looks at her. So yeah, but not bad. And then that's me.
I can tell.
That looks good.
Yeah,
That's
you did a
sick.
great job.
Yeah, I was very pleased with goatees. That's what I want for Meg, right? I want her to feel how I felt.
Dude, that
when
looks
they dropped
good.
Goatees and beard. Yeah, that's how I look when I go for an interview. Is the goatee is tightened up. But I was so impressed with the nuance of the gray you're able to put in and pull out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just made another one the other day that looks more like me today with the gray all the way around. Yeah. And then I was thinking about my mom in the other one, in the next one. And I just thought that that's close to my mother, although my mother has a great smile, so we can't see that here. But I was pleased that I had at least an option that came close to reflecting her short hairstyle. She had a short, cute hairstyle my whole life, and often wore it natural like this. And so I was excited to think about how to do my blessed mother, and she'll be 90 this year in December.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm gonna show her this and be like, I'm gonna put you in the game, and she's gonna be like, what game? But we'll still talk about it anyway.
You just brought up something that is another thing that CIG should maybe take note. We do have like sort of idle animations for these characters. It would be great if we could see different expressions, smiles, frowns, things like that. Kind of like we have now. You can press space, and if you have your FOIP camera set up, you can see your FOIP expressions. But it would be great if they had a series of default expressions that they could go through. And even in game, I would love them to be able to have like a set of default expressions based on mood. Like, I'm in a happy mood today, so there'll be a bunch of happy expressions, or I'm angry or whatever. Like, it'd be really cool to do that. Yeah.
I think we got a lot of feedback for CIG in here, and I think that's close to the top, because
also,
as you build it out, you want to know what your face looks like when you're doing those expressions. Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Yo-Yo.
There's Jade knows, but there's a Spectrum post where they're asking for feedback. So if anybody also has feedback or appreciates any of the feedback that we have on there, feel free to either add your own or upvote some other people's. But I was trying to find the link.
I'm getting it right now, actually.
Okay.
There we go. Good stuff. Well, that gave you an opportunity to see a bit of, how this thing can work. Whether you want to make yourself, or you want to make somebody else, or you want to download somebody else's effort at something, or you want to, whatever you want to do. When 3.23 hits live, every player will have that freedom. I think one of the takeaways here is there's a long way to go, but we've gotten a lot, and we got good feedback. So once this show is over, don't leave now, but once this show is over, take a look at that link and let them know your thoughts. The strength of the opportunity on Spectrum to go beyond, I'm mad, I don't like it, I don't like the devs, blah, 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 and really give them feedback. They read it, right? And so when it gives them something to think about, they think about it, right? And I'm excited. The character creator is great, and it's just going to go from strength to strength. I do not know if we have any Q&A, and if we do, I didn't see it. I don't know if people put questions in under the because when you click, you have the opportunity to send us a question, a viewer question with one of your reward and challenge points here on Twitch, but I don't know if we got any. Let me take a look. Did we get any questions? Not tonight. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, people were just in the experience. Good stuff. Good stuff. And we did have some informal questions that folks were answering in the chat. I know that Yo-Yo, Jade, and others were engaging folks in the chat. Good stuff. So that sort of brings us to the end. We're a little over time, but that's our show for tonight. I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about some of the other things that we're doing in the coming week and what Soul Citizens is. I wanted to talk about, if you go to the About. Oh, I'm very happy for you to be here too. Aztec Sun. Thank you for the follow. Super blessed to have you. One of the things that if you go to the About page of our Twitch channel, that there's an opportunity to take a look at is the referral codes for the referral codes for the Soul team. If you are starting in the game, there are referral codes there that you can use. Pick any one of the Soul team members, and you start with 5,000 AUEC. I feel good as well. Who was that? Reload with 5 tier 1 gift subs to the Soul Citizens community. Incredible. Thank you very, very much for that. Really appreciate that.
I just heard from Griff. We got 2 questions in the alert.
Oh, all right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Okay. The first question is, when will the Source filmmaker inspired stretch goal appear? I don't know that one. It's from Guns and Glue. When will the Source filmmaker inspired stretch goal appear? I don't remember that stretch goal.
I don't remember that being a stretch goal either.
Guns and Glue, if you're still here, if you could illuminate while we take a look at the other question that hopefully Griff will post in the chat. I mean in the alert. If you could illuminate, that would help us respond. One of the things about the stretch goals is, you have some stretch goals that came at higher. Oh, that was the only question. Okay. You have some stretch goals that came at higher amounts that have already been fulfilled, and you have other stretch goals that haven't. And we have to take a look. CIG has to take a look at that and see where those things, because they're not promises, right? They're goals. They're like, if we can do it, we will do it. And we have to see where the project is today and how they want to integrate it. But that one I'm not familiar with. Yo-Yo, are you familiar with that?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Sorry. We apologize. We missed that one. But that brings us to the end of our show. So I wanted to talk to you about the referral codes. I also want to talk to you about that About channel, About section on our site, which allows you to connect with Soul Citizens merchandise, right? And so there's a link for that as well. But we're going to wrap up. I'm going to ask Jade to talk about what happened, because she's so very often co-hosts with Fast Card on Thursdays. Can you, Jade, tell them about what we do on Thursday nights?
Sure. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern is Soul Talk, which is where you in the community come in and we discuss Star Citizen content and things like Inside Star Citizen with us. And, it's pretty much a show where you can all come in and, have your say, bring up topics. And yeah, it's just a really good show. If you like the game, you're passionate about it, and you want to talk about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Show up for Soul Talk on Thursday. And then Yo-Yo, you'll talk a little bit about Soul Voices and what that's about.
Yeah, so Soul Voices is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Another conversational type, you can hop into Discord. Everyone's welcome. Talk about posts from the community, from Reddit, Twitter, Spectrum. And then I believe I might get this wrong, but the podcast leads into Astropub. Is that right?
That's right. Saturdays are Pod Sat Saturdays, and we go from
On Saturdays.
That's right. We go from Soul Voices to the Astropub, very often his captain's table. And then we go to the OGs of Soul Citizen on Twitch, which is a relay. So you can spend your whole day having us in the foreground or the background of your Saturday life. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And then, of course, on Sunday, you can be right here, back here at 7 p.m. Eastern time for the next Soul Citizens. Next week, we'll be talking about that update 3.23, and where we are on that, whether it's progressed further on the PTU, the features thereof, and all stuff, update 3.23. So that's next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Soul Citizens.
I'll make a bold prediction. It'll be out by then. It'll be live.
Same.
I like that. I like that. Get it to the people.
Yes.
Get it to the people. And then everybody gets a chance to tell us what they think about the character creator. Good stuff. And other things. So that is our show for tonight. What we normally do at this point is we will raid another channel in the community. So my hope is that my producer brothers from Another Mothers, Fastcart and Griff in the background are finding us someone to raid, and that we will thank you for the follow, Edgar Allan Bro. Edgar Allan Bro official. I like that. That's good stuff. We want to thank everybody that decided to stay with us this evening and check us out this evening. We want to thank folks for making the decision to follow Soul Citizens. We want to thank Maiden Ariana for the raid. I don't know if I missed any other raids or anything else, but like I said, I like to begin and end in gratitude. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. We are better off for you having been here. And we are going to raid Kelsar Prime. So when you get over there, just take a moment and let them know that this is a Soul raid and you came from Soul Citizens. And if you are so inclined, go ahead and follow Kelsar Prime and support Kelsar Prime and the work that they're doing over there. So we'll be there shortly. And thanks again. And we'll see y'all soon. As Griff says, I will take it. Peace, love, and soul. And have a wonderful evening and rest of your week.
Bye.